The effect of activated carbon derived from coconut husk, rice husk, and peanut shell carbon filtration on the contamination of water, by Jatin Sawlani. As seen in Figure 1, in 2010, 17 developed countries have at least 10% of polluted drinking water. This includes some of the world's largest powers such as Spain, France, and Italy. Figure 2 shows the recent improvement of drinking water in various countries. Due to the lack of resources in Africa and the Middle East, many of these third world countries have not had any improvement. Carbon is a cheap method to filter out contaminants such as lead hydroxide, arsenic trioxide, arsenic pentoxide, and sodium arsenite from water. These contaminants can cause rashes, stomach or liver cancer, respiratory problems, and neurological effects. In order to prevent further pollution, a filter can be created. This filter is created by activated carbon. Activated carbon has microscopic pores in each of the pieces that absorb these contaminants. Activated carbon allows for many organic impurities to bond with these contaminants. Since contaminants such as lead hydroxide, arsenic trioxide, arsenic pentoxide, and sodium arsenite are all found in water, they are easily allowed to bond with other molecules. By the time the contaminated water goes through the microscopic pores in the activated carbon, the concentration of these contaminants are much less. There are many different types of activated carbon. Usually they are separated into two categories, synthetic carbon and biosorbents. A biosorbent is activated carbon that comes from biological material. Some biosorbents are better filters than others, such as coconut husk, rice husk, and peanut shells. They are usually better filters due to the fact that they are very dry and have a high carbon composition compared to the rest of their molecular formula. Some sorbents have a tendency to bond with certain elements, such as peanut shells bonding to lead. The two different chemicals that will be emulating pollutants in this study are sodium arsenite and lead hydroxide. These chemicals are naturally found in drinking water and create an acidic environment. In the article, Characterization of Activated Carbon of Coconut Husks, Rice Husks, and Karanja Oil Cake, Adicola found the compositions of activated coconut husk carbon, activated rice husk carbon, and the composition of activated oil cake carbon. In addition, he studied the absorption capacities of the various activated carbons on arsenic trioxide. He found that the lower the percentage ash in the activated carbon, the higher the absorption capacity. Coconut husk carbon was the best filter, with oil cake coming to a close second. Rice husk was well below the absorption capacity of the other two. Also, the higher the carbon concentration led to a higher percentage of filtered contaminants. In the article, Investing the Use of Biosorbents to Remove Arsenic from Water, Shreyas found that the absorption capacity of coconut carbon was much better than the capacities of rice husk carbon and coffee grounds carbon. Although coconut had a higher absorption capacity, it took longer to start the absorption process compared to both the rice husk and coffee grounds. This means that the coconut took longer to start to filter out the contaminants, but once it started to pick up, the rate increased rapidly. In the article, Removal of Arsenic from Groundwater with Low-Cost Biosorbents, Eisen used a combination of biosorbents. This combination was composed of brick dust, stone dust, coconut carbon, and dried newspaper. She tested the effects of the different order on the effectiveness of carbon filtration. She found that the ones that had coconut carbon as one of the first two biosorbents had a higher absorption capacity than the ones that didn't. This was due to the extreme dryness of the activated coconut carbon. The quicker the coconut carbon was used, the better filter it was. There are two groups of variables. The first group of variables are the different types of activated carbon biosorbents, which are peanut shells, coconut husks, and rice husks. The next group of variables are the different compounds that will be inside the distilled water. They are sodium arsenite and lead hydroxide. There will be 3 separate tanks for each pollutant, one for each type of biosorbent. The tanks will be filled with 500 milliliters of water, added with the respective pollutant. The solution's pH and absorbance will be measured before the carbon is placed inside the tank. Then, 20 grams of the respective biosorbent will be placed in the solution. After 24 hours, the pH and absorbences will be measured. Each trial will last 5 days, with pH and absorbance measured daily. Specifically for absorption, each sample will be run through a thin wire strainer to filter out any of the microscopic carbon pieces. The spectrophotometer will be set at 510 micrometers, which was based off of previous journal articles. The higher the absorbance, the higher the concentration of contaminants. This data will be analyzed through IBM SPSS version 20 with a 1-way ANOVA and a post-hoc test where p-value is less than or equal to 0.05. The purpose of the study is to create a low-cost activated carbon filter using various biosorbents with high adsorption capacity. According to Adicola, when coconut husk carbon is used, the pH of the solution will go to 6.7 with the high absorbance with sodium arsenite. When using peanut shell carbon and rice husk carbon, the pH of the solution will go to 6.3 with the lower absorbance than that of coconut carbon. With lead hydroxide, coconut carbon will decrease the pH to 6.1, while rice husk and peanut shell carbon will make the pH go to 6.5 with the high absorbance. This is my budget. This is my bibliography.